Hello, my name is Heidi LaFleur, and I am so excited to share with you something called my cruising altitude. This idea and concept was created and trademarked by my good friend Mike Specht. Mike Specht and I go back a long, long way, all the way back to Wahlert High School in Dubuque, where I was very good friends with his sister, and his family was an amazing part of my life. So he had this idea, and I told him it was absolutely brilliant, and I asked him if I could run with it a little bit. So the development and the presentation I've created, and I want to share it with you today. If this is something that you are interested in, please reach out and let me know. And it's something that is for teams, it is for people in offices, it is for families, it is for just the whole general public to really understand this amazing concept created by Mike called my cruising altitude. So let's think about finding my cruising altitude. The objectives for this experience are: find your life balance by identifying who, what, and where gives you peace and grace, who, what, and where creates turbulence in your life. Then we're going to create our cruising altitude through identification, communication, and keeping daily goals focused and simple. Then we're going to develop a plan to maintain your cruising altitude, knowing that it's not a matter of if you go through turbulence, it's a matter of when. That turbulence always hits our lives. And then work to observe rather than absorb your surroundings so you know what's in your control. I talk a lot about being trauma-informed, and that trauma-informed is actually a verb. It means that I know how to interact with people. So the most productive way to live a trauma-informed life is to first find your own life balance. So this mixes so well with what I do. I want to share a quote with you from All I Need to Know I learned in kindergarten. Be aware of wonder. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. I want you to think about that wonder as we go through today. So this amazing thing created by Mike, my cruising altitude, listen to what it means. This is what this means. Life in balance. Success is born of challenges. Every day we wake with pure will, push against the constant weight of gravity to rise above. We defy odds with persistence and meet the turbulent ascent of our being with an expectation of grace and contentment. Wherever that journey may take us, we strive to find the best of ourselves and maintain a life in balance, our cruising altitude. What does that mean, right? When we look that up in the dictionary, it's a noun. It's the height in the sky at which an airplane stays for most of a flight. The pilot announced that we'd reach our cruising altitude, a cruising altitude of 40,000 feet. So what is the rationale behind that? Why is that so important? Planes can fly faster and more efficiently using less fuel to maintain the speed required to develop lift, also maintaining adequate oxygen levels and cabin pressure. So if you think about that and you turn that into a human, what are we working to do? We're working to work smarter, not harder. We're working to be more efficient in things that we do. Use less energy at times so we can maintain something that is accessible to all of us, right? That we don't just crash and burn because we're working too hard. We want to develop that lift. That lift is feeling really good about what we do and why we do it, and understanding the why behind everything. Maintaining that adequate oxygen level and cabin pressure means that I know how to get myself to this cruising altitude. I know how to maintain it. And when things don't go so great, when we hit that turbulence, I know what to do. Is it perfect? No, there's nothing perfect about life. That's not what life is about. It's not about being perfect, but it's about trying to live my best life. And what does that look like? Let's identify it. So what we're going to do is in the workshop model, you basically figure out what your cruising altitude is. So you're going to have time to write out when at my best I feel. Who are you with, right? Let's go down the left-hand side. What are you doing and what are you talking about? Then on the right-hand side, where are you when you're truly feeling at your best? Things that bring you here, and then how do you stay at that cruising altitude? So 5 things you're going to think about here are: when at my best I feel. So what are words that describe my feelings, right? Number 2, when at my best I'm surrounded by. Who are you with when you feel your absolute best? Number 3, when at my best I find myself. Where are you? Where are you located, right? In time and space. Number 4, when at my best, I am. What are you doing and what are you talking about? What's the vocabulary you're using? Who are the people that you're around? And number 5, what brings you to your best? What are things that bring you here to that cruising altitude? So then what you're going to do is you're going to think about my cruising altitude. So what is that? What does it mean? Again, it's the essence of being when and where you're at your best. So this is something that is an example, right? The woman reached her cruising altitude with coffee in hand, house picked up, surrounded by her family after a nice meal. A cruising altitude of happiness, harmony, and peace. Something that I strive for all the time. And the older I get, I understand that it is about what brings me happiness, what brings me harmony, what brings me peace. And it's usually giving to others or teaching. So you're going to have an opportunity to do that as well, where you're going to take your turn at figuring out what your cruising altitude is. So I want to share mine with you. This is an absolute work in progress. It is not done. It's never going to be done. Something really cool is, honestly, I go about my life every day and I think, oh, I need to add this, I need to add this, I need to add this. So again, this is a working document. I have it hanging here in my office and I look at it often and it's marked up with pencil everywhere because I don't think this document is ever done, but what it does is it grounds me and it makes me at my best. So the first thing right at the top there under Heidy LaFleur, when at my best, I feel peaceful, calm, grateful, motivated, accomplished, right? Those are some of the things that I feel. Left-hand side, who are you with? Usually with my family or an audience of people, because when I'm teaching and when I'm speaking, I truly feel that I'm at my best. Right below that, what are you doing? I'm listening to people, I'm teaching, I'm enjoying coffee with my husband on our front porch or on our deck, and I'm cheering for my kids. Whatever they are doing, whether it be sports or band or drama, I am cheering for them. That makes me feel really, really good. And then what are you talking about? When I'm at my best, I'm talking about goals and dreams and plans and memories and next steps and how am I going to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. So I'm always working to break down those problems and figure out how I can be a part of that solution. Things that bring me here. Faith brings me here, family brings me here, and creating brings me here. Faith to me is what I love about faith is that they always say it's a mystery, right? There's no one right way to have faith. Some people go to church all the time. Some people don't ever go to church. Some people believe in a religion. Some people don't believe in a religion. Faith is what is it that I go to when I know that I'm struggling? Faith is what do I give gratefulness to every single day that lifts me up, right? It's also my family, when I'm around my family, and it's creating. When I get to create classes and workshops, that brings me to that place of my cruising altitude. And then how do I stay there? I know that I need sleep. The older I get, if I don't have sleep, I get sick. I feel sick. I don't feel good. And that brings me, turbulence in my life. Checking and balancing with my family. So making sure that when we make a decision or we go a certain direction or we're going to problem solve, we all have a little bit of a voice, right? And it doesn't mean that the kids are going to get a vote always, but we have a voice. We have a voice in what we're going to do and why we're doing it. And that we know that it might not be perfect. It might not turn out how we want it to turn out, but going through it is part of the whole process of figuring out what brings us to our cruising altitude. And then presenting. That 100% brings me there. When I get to present knowledge and material and I get to teach people, that is one of the greatest things in the world for me that keeps me there and keeps me in check at all times. So then we think about the reality of my cruising altitude. Identify what brings turbulence, adversity, struggle, and off balance to my life. We're going to talk about who do I turn to when turbulence hits? Who are my trusted people that I can turn to? One thing my mom shared with me when I was a little kid is she said, Heidi, you will be lucky in your entire life if you have the number of true trusted people in your life as you do fingers on one hand. And again, the older I get, the more that makes sense to me because we have a lot of acquaintances, we have a lot of colleagues, but who are your trusted people? Who are your go-to people? Right below that, where do I go when turbulence hits? Where do I go physically? Where do I go mentally? Where do I go spiritually? It's because there's places we have to go and take ourselves, whether it be our physical body or our mind, to understand where we need to reconnect when that turbulence hits. And then to the right-hand side, what do I say when turbulence hits and I feel out of balance? Do I have certain quotes that I turn to? Do I have phrases that I use? Do I have mantras? Do I have affirmations? What is it that helps me maintain that cruising altitude? Because again, the reality is you will hit turbulence. Turbulence is an absolute part of this. So then maintaining my cruising altitude. In order to maintain my cruising altitude, I will work to practice the following every day. And you'll get the opportunity to put at least 3 things down that will help you with that. And what's interesting about those 3 things is it doesn't mean that it has to be perfect. There's no such thing. One of my very favorite quotes by Eldolf Brown is this: "We are all flawed. We need to focus on excellence, not perfection. We need to be better next year than last year, better next month than this month, and better tomorrow than today." So again, this is a work in progress our entire lives. But what am I going to do to get there every single day? That's one of the things we're going to work on. And then a cool thing that we have here is living my cruising altitude. Wear it to maintain it. What is your symbol? So create your custom apparel for you, for your team, for your family, for your school, or for your company. You can contact Jake and make sure to mention that Mike Speck sent you. So I want to share mine with you. My shirt is in the middle. My cruising altitude is this amazing drawing that my child drew at 12 years old. And this is the reason I get out of bed every day. This is the reason that I do what I do. This is the reason that I'm an entrepreneur and I speak and I keynote and I give workshops to people, because the thing is, what we need to understand, whether we are working in a company, at a business, in a school, on a field, on a stage, that everything you say and everything you do either helps people soar or adds weight to their shackles. When I talk about shackles, I mean our trauma, our dirt, our stories, our stuff, because we all have that. So my cruising altitude is knowing that every day when I wake up, this drawing comes into my mind and I know exactly where I want to go and why I want to go there. So a couple other examples. Somebody put a football, right? That's your cruising altitude. We had a school put a bulldog because they were the Bulldogs, right? So their cruising altitude for their entire school was their bulldog, but they went through this to figure out what is our altitude and how do we maintain that. Some people wrote a cross because it is faith. Then we had somebody do the Maltese cross, the firefighter symbol, because you know what? When I give to people and when I run into that burning building instead of run out, that is my cruising altitude. That is when I am at my best. So again, My Cruising Altitude by Mike Speck. Total amazing genius. Love it. Hoping to breathe lots of air into this. Life in balance. Success is born of challenges. Every day we wake with pure will. Push against the constant weight of gravity to rise above. We defy odds with persistence and meet the turbulent ascent of our being with an expectation of grace and contentment. Wherever that journey may take us, we strive to find the best of ourselves and maintain life in balance, our cruising altitude. So again, you guys beware of wonder, live a balanced life, learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work hard every day some. If you are interested in getting that apparel for your team, yourself, your place of employment, wherever it is that you go, your school, please contact Jake. And then understand this: if you are interested in having this workshop come to you, please contact me, Heidy with a Y. I would love to bring this to you, your organization, and then allow you to get that apparel and think about how we can live our cruising altitude so we can maintain it. So thank you so much for taking a minute to listen. I wish you an amazing day and continue trying to find that cruising altitude, because once you get there, man, it is an absolute beautiful place.